This was insane to witness, and mean that literally. I was there at the preseason game last night, Bucs versus Titans, and we had some awesome things to talk about, awesome things to witness, some great performances both on offense and defense, and it's just great to be back in football form. I'm Sebastian with Buccaneers Digest. Welcome back, guys. Make sure to subscribe. We are almost there at 1,000. 95% of y'all who are watching not still subscribed, but that doesn't matter because you can subscribe right now, and we'll be at 1,000. We'll be doing streams. We'll be doing all kinds of cool stuff with this community that we're building right now. I'm so thankful to y'all who are already part of this and have already subscribed from the beginning. I am not forgetting you guys. You are help building this thing here, but we're here. It's the season. Bucs football is back. I was at the game. I was witnessing all of these things, and there was a lot going on. Some folks thought maybe in the middle of the game it got a bit boring, but overall there was a lot of excitement going on there, especially in the beginning and the end of the game. That fourth quarter was a lot better than folks were anticipating. You never know with the threes and the fours out there that just something might happen, and it was pretty cool to witness, I'd say. So let's jump right into it. We had ourselves a pretty good performance from our QB2 at the time, Kyle Trask. He said, Todd Bowles said, I thought that he played very well. He made some timely throws down the field. He did a very good job of controlling the offense. He was poised in the pocket. As far as being a gamer, we'll need more evidence, but he's off to a good start. So, Trask is off to a good start. This is what I was talking about in the game preview on Friday, was that Trask needed to show us something tonight because he only signed a 1-year deal to stay on the team, and it's weirdly kind of like a fifth-year option for a second rounder. Will you say? Where Trask hasn't had a lot of time in the regular season. He's been playing a lot in the preseason. He's had some up preseasons, some down preseasons. You can imagine being, a fifth-year backup on the same team. You were behind Tom Brady, and now you're behind Baker Mayfield. Mentally, how is he handling that? He's caused no drama. He's been a good locker room guy. But you always have to wonder, does he actually want to play on the field? Is this, or is he happy kind of riding the bench and just helping out wherever he can in the locker room and in the QB room? Because he's a very smart guy. He's very he's mellow off the field, but on the field, believe me, he actually can bark pretty bit. Bark's probably not the best word because he was a Florida Gator, not a Bulldog. But anyway, what I'm trying to get at is he had a good night tonight, and he was making some good passes. The first drive in particular, he made a really nice pass to Jalen McMillan on the first play, and then he had another great pass to Emeka Egbuka. He got his first catch. Obviously, it doesn't go in the books as Abuka's first catch because it's preseason, but now Abuka's gotten kind of a sense of the feel of the game a little bit. They were going up against some starters with the Titans, and it felt good to see that. I think there were some big roars from the crowd when Egbuka was catching that stuff, and then actually Trask took another shot to Egbuka for in the corner of the end zone, or the front corner of the end zone, to try and get him, a touchdown. It was a solid pass from Trask because it wasn't in danger of being intercepted, but it ended up being incomplete, obviously, because it wasn't really a catchable ball for Emeka. It was catchable, but it was really the catch radius was really hard. It would be really impressive if he brought it in for any receiver in the NFL. So anyway, but he made a good attempt, and then obviously that was where Amuka's night ended. They didn't want to need to see anything else. He has nothing to prove. We know he's killing it in training camp and practice. So it's just good to see him out there and getting some reps. And same thing with Jalen McMillan. But obviously no Godwin, no Evans. And then at that point, we did not see Sterling Shepard. We did not see Tez Johnson. The standout wide receiver actually was Ryan Miller. And he was making a lot of plays throughout the night, honestly. He was on the field quite a bit, and shout out to him. He is being evaluated for a concussion still, I believe. We'll check in when we have more updates on that. But he had a great night. He was making some really good catches. A few hospital balls that he was being thrown that he survived, hopefully. He did, obviously, but you just hope he didn't get a concussion. anyway, that was good to see. So offensively, good showing from Trask. Todd Bowles, reinforces that, and I'm excited to see what he'll be doing in Game 2 and Game 3. He played a whole half, and maybe he'll be doing the same thing going forward. Baker will probably playing, as far as I understand, in the away game at Steelers preseason next week, and then he will definitely be playing Week 3, at least like a drive or two. As goes, preseason. That's typically how things go. So that's how we go with the quarterback room. The other quarterback, I'm actually forgetting his name, did not do much. He was really handing the ball off most of the time, and that was kind of really the big emphasis on offense was running and doing a lot of screen passes, and really not giving away a lot of the playbook. So those who were frustrated by, Trask wasn't throwing it that much, or Trask wasn't doing all these things. And besides the first drive, which was exciting, I wouldn't worry too much about that, about the lack in play calling creativity. Other teams across the league are being criticized for their lack of play calling creativity. And if preseason, we're not trying to, show our hand too early. You start showing your hand once you're in the regular season and you're playing for something. Right now, a lot of it was testing the offensive line and their durability. The running back room was being tested a lot. Sean Tucker was a standout because Rashad White went down early. From what we understand, it's a groin injury for Rashad. So Sean Tucker was playing probably a lot more than he would have. And then there was Owen Wright, who came in and was getting basically all the second half snaps. But Sean Tucker in the first half, very strong showing. He had a touchdown, and he also had a long run. It was 25 yards or something, and but he's getting screen passes. And what this does is we were testing out the offensive line. It's what we talked about in the game preview, is that they're looking to see what we have with the offensive line and their depth there. We weren't playing, I think, any starters right now. As of right now on the depth chart for the offensive line, it was about seeing who's going to be earning reps to potentially help, be on the second string offensive line, or maybe even get up into the starting string for the left tackle while Tristan Wirfs is out. So that's what it was being evaluated. There was a lot of rotations going in and out. I did see Michael Jordan give up a sack, and that was. But anyway, I think overall it was a solid showing from the offensive line. A lot of those screen passes actually got good yardage, 5 to 6 yards, or sometimes even first downs, 10 plus yards. So that was really encouraging to see. And these are backup guys making these plays. Now, again, they're going up against backups, but Sean's running really hard. The offensive line is for the most part doing pretty well. There was a few penalties, but that's to be expected from backup guys. It just kind of tends to happen. But we had a few touchdown runs from Owen Wright be called back because of these holding penalties. So that'll be good teaching tape. Eventually Owen Wright got his. It was right by Owen Wright, he eventually got his touchdown at the end of the night. At some point they had to give it to him because he had 2 touchdowns called back. So the third time was the charm. And that was good to see that we were running pretty strong and the screens were working, but just don't worry too much about the lack of downfield passing, especially in game 1 of preseason. We're working on still installing plays from Grizzard's game plan and everything. So that's what I have to say about the running backs. They had solid showings. Sean Tucker, I am very pleased with. He runs hard. He's not. Once guys get their arms around him, he's probably going down. He's not the biggest breaking tackle guy. He'll if they're going for his ankles, he's good at high stepping and getting over dudes. But once they get their arms around him, he's not like Bucky. And even Rashad, honestly, they're a bit stronger running backs who can throw guys down, get out of being held down by defenders and everything. But Sean's still a strong runner, a great piece of this running back room, and it was a good game from him. So that's. Never going to complain about that. But going on the defensive side, there was some concern about Chris Brazwell, who was the second-round draft pick for the Buccaneers in 2024. So, there was a question asked about whether Todd was disappointed about Brazwell's performance. And Bowles had to say, no disappointment at all. We thought he was very physical at the point of attack. We thought he got off the ball. The ball was coming out quick. One or two of his rushes could be more speed to power, but everything else he did was good. Okay, it's interesting to hear him, say that because when I was there, watching the game, I it didn't look that good. I mean, considering Todd, being overall pretty satisfied with Brazwell's performance, to the outside looker and to me and to everyone else, like to a lot of Bucs fans, it was a bit concerning. It felt like a rough night. He was not really getting to the quarterback. He wasn't really getting a lot of tackles. It felt like, when a blocker got in his face that, he was having a tough time getting around that. So and just play recognition, he wasn't really getting to the ball quickly. There was a couple plays where he got in the backfield to stop the run, but overall, we're looking for, we're pretty good on the run defense. What we're looking for is pass rush and pass rush power. And we drafted Brazwell in the second round, kind of knowing he was a project because when he was at Alabama, he wasn't never really the star defensive end in Bama, but he was a guy who played a lot of years there. He played with a lot of talent in Bama, so he's in talented speed rusher rooms or edge rusher rooms. So he has a wealth of knowledge, definitely, and he has the great physical attributes that you would want in an edge rusher. The problem is that the production is a bit lacking, and we didn't see much last year. We didn't get to, and then this year it's like, okay, we need to start seeing something in year two. And so last night's performance, despite what Todd Bowles was saying, I didn't see really a good performance, and there's a lot of other Bucs reporters and Bucs fans who feel the same way. I think what we're looking for these next two preseason games is to really see Chris, push the boundaries and really make some splash plays. It's fine if we're hearing the coach say okay, he's doing well in those fundamentals of getting off the snap quickly. But if he's not making tackles, if he's not making pressures, his impact on the game is very minuscule. His fundamentals may be good, but it's rather we need impact guys because it's something that the Bucs have struggled with for years now. Is that edge rush that it just hasn't really been there. We have defensive tackles who are leading our sacks, which is not what you want. Not because those guys, while it's good to get defensive tackle sacks, they shouldn't be the ones leading your team in sacks. So that's just something that I noticed. A lot of people noticed, but Bowles didn't seem to really have a problem with it. So we'll just continue analyzing that situation as we go along. The next player that is worth of note from last night, J.J. Roberts. Todd Bowles had to say that he got some PBUs in there, pass breakups in there. There's some things that he can learn at the nickel spot, some nuances he needs to learn there, and he needs to catch the ball when he has a chance to catch it, but he can run, he can cover, he gets his hands on a lot of balls, he gives us a lot of flexibility playing nickel, safety, and possibly emergency corner. He showed up tonight. Okay, so JJ showed up. This is a picture of Jacob Parish, who we will talk about in just a second, but J.J. Roberts, who is competing for a safety position in particular. He's also has, as Bowles said, some versatility at the nickel position, which is you're playing a bit more defensively inside, covering receivers on the inside instead of on the outside. So you're closer to the ball. He's more of a guy who's keeping his eyes on the quarterback and making sure that he's making the right reads, but also covering some receivers in the meantime, and just his zone. He has a good eye for the ball, which is really exciting. He helped tip up of a ball for an interception last night. That was really exciting to see, and he's been getting some really good reviews from training camp. So he's got good ball skills, but as Todd said, he's not really catching interceptions too much. He did catch one in the joint practice, if I remember correctly, and but it's good because a lot of one of the other problems that the Bucs defense has been facing is secondary, and in particular the corner room, safety room's a bit shallow too. With just guys who can make instinctive plays, who can really get after the ball, and they're not waiting for the play to come to them. They're anticipating. They're reading offenses and what they're trying to do before it happens. And JJ had a good showing last night of that, and that was really exciting to see. And I'm glad that Todd's not just satisfied with like, okay, yeah, he got a few pass breakups and he tipped up a ball. I want to see him catch interceptions. I want to see, don't be satisfied with just being around the ball. Be a guy who's creating turnovers, punching the ball out. Like Antoine Winfield, he makes interceptions. He makes all these different things happen around the ball, especially like, for a guy of Winfield's size, you would underestimate him just looking at him, but he is just one of the best safeties in the league because of his instincts. And JJ Roberts has a lot to learn from that if he's going to be making this team. He's competing with Shiloh. He's competing with other guys for these positions. The more versatile you are, the more likely you'll be able to make the team because coaches love the ability to place you in different areas of need. Someone goes down, we need you to plug and place wherever we can. So that does help Roberts for sure, having that ability. But, so good to see him help at least cause a turnover, even though he wasn't the guy who caught the interception. But you always love that. You love seeing guys make plays. But yeah, overall, the next guy that we had to talk about was Shiloh Sanders, very related to JJ. Todd had to say he played tough. I thought he went in and did a heck of a job. He had some good tackles in there. He had a pressure on the quarterback as well. He did some good coverage things, so he did a good job when he was in there. I love this. I love hearing about Shiloh because he did have a good night. There was some really like tough tackles that he made, just like running in there, not afraid to hit somebody. Overall, I don't think he really had any like broken coverages or broken plays. Now we're going against the Titans. It's good to remember this, that like these aren't world beaters by any means, and especially when they get into the backups, we were not really facing the best of the best. I think Tim Boyle, who's one of the backups for the backup quarterbacks for the Titans, had a 0.6 passer rating, which is egregiously bad. 2 interceptions, like 20 yards of pass. Anyway, not a good night. That's partially thanks to the Bucs defense playing really well, the backups versus the backups. But at the same time, goes to show we weren't going up against tough competition here. Like it was just, but they were making plays when they were supposed to. Like when you're facing bad teams, you make good plays and you perform up to standard. The Bucs have a history of sometimes playing down to another team's talent level when we are the more talented team. And it's, for example, last year, the Cowboys, when they had a lot of injuries on their team and we were relatively healthy, we still lost that game when we should have easily, beaten them. So that's just, we can never take these things for granted. It's good to handle your business in the NFL, and Shiloh definitely did that. He joked around with the media later after the game that, like, he's not going to give his first game jersey to his dad because, his dad wouldn't be satisfied with this game. He would only, be satisfied if, like, Shiloh had, like, 2 to 3 interceptions, which is, like, high standards, but it's good that Shiloh's holding himself that high of a standard, and he's grateful to be out there and competing, and it's great to see him. It's great to see him performing pretty well. Tough is always something that you want to be called when you're just starting in the NFL. If you're tough, that means that you have a good chance of having a future in the league, because it's easy to weed out the guys who don't belong, the guys who can't really take the professional hits or can stay up to speed in the professional speed. So far, at least for last night, Shiloh was able to keep up and perform pretty well and not make any bad mistakes. And he made a great pressure on the Titans quarterback and caused a incompletion there. So that was one of the highlight plays of the night. And so overall, very satisfied, very exciting to see all of that go down. But what else is going on? Because we got so many different guys. Jacob Parish, he was probably my highlight player because he had 2 excellent pass breakups. Todd Bowles had to say that I thought he did a good job, especially out in the corner spot. The preseason is going to be great for him, and I look forward to him having a heck of a season here. Jacob Parish, for those who don't remember, is our 3rd round selection from this past draft. I mean, he looked excellent last night, and he's been getting some really strong reviews, even over Benjamin Morrison, who's our second-round selection, who's also a corner. Benjamin did not play last night. That's why we haven't really heard much out of him. But hopefully, injury-wise, that he can get back up. But regarding Jacob, I need to keep this on Jacob, is he was going up against the Titans' number one receivers like Calvin Ridley and all those guys, and he was making plays on them. Obviously, the Titans' one touchdown was when they were the ones were out for the Titans, and our backup defense was in. The only starter for the Bucs defense was Sebastian Dennis, who's the linebacker who will be next to Lavonte David for this season. They just put Dennis out there because he got injured last year, didn't play a lot of the season, and he needs those mental reps of just being out on the field, getting familiar with being out on the field before he takes on regular season reps and is fully up to speed. And Dennis seemed to do pretty well. It's good that he's kind of the one calling the shots, being the leader on the field when Lavonte is out. He needs that experience as well, so they can work as a tandem more once they're both out on the field. But regarding Jacob, it's cool to see him really recognize a play and be able to knock the balls down. No pass interference called on him. He was really looking fast out there and was just really a ball hawk. I think that several interceptions are in his future this rookie season for him. I was just really excited by those two pass breakups that he had. It sounds small, but when you're doing that against a team's first team guys, it's pretty cool. And I think that it got some big cheers from the crowd. And he will be a guy that we definitely need. And like Bull said, he's going to have a heck of a season. He's basically guaranteed to make a spot on the team just because, third rounders typically do. But at the same time, when you're playing this well in the training camp and preseason, you can lock it in. And we're going to need that depth at corner. Who knows if he'll be a starter, actually. It'll be like Jamel Dean and maybe Jacob Parish, who's to say. Like I said, great stuff from him, and can't wait to see more from him in the future. Last thing that we kind of wanted to talk about is, we talked about Ibuka, and then Rashad White did get injured in the game. Now, it was diagnosed as a groin injury, but at the same time, those things can linger. Those things can be kind of a hard thing sometimes to really get back up to speed, literally, and heal well. So it's just something to keep your eye out for. They're still doing some evaluations on him, and we'll learn more in the future. But we're all kind of hoping that Rashad's not too hurt, because this is a good running back room. Bucky Irving, Sean Tucker, and Rashad is a great tandem to have. So we hope that Rashad gets better soon, and that maybe he'll sit out week 2 of preseason just to be safe and everything. But it's who knows? Maybe we'll bring in some more running back competition. Owen Wright did pretty decently last night. There was a lot of running, but offensive line performed pretty well. It just seemed like it was like a non-contact thing, or just on maybe it was a contact. I couldn't see when it happened, but overall he walked over to the sideline himself, and it was just something that was bothering him. So we'll just see how that goes. And yeah. Overall, though, I want to ask you guys, what did you think from the preseason game? I mean, overall, it was really cool to watch Ibuka out there and Trask throwing to these guys in that first drive. We looked really, really good with some downfield throws, and then things kind of slowed down with the runs and the screens. But overall, very polished. The defense in particular was pretty outstanding most of the night. Not the biggest competition, but overall, I think that shouldn't matter. That it should be overall okay, are we making plays? Are we taking care of business, as we've talked about? And are our young guys really starting to, fit the culture and not just sit on the sidelines and watch and try and the learning experiences are through winning. That's what you always want to learn, through a win and not a loss. The Titans are trying to not be the worst team in the league this year, and the Bucs are trying to make a Super Bowl push. So overall, I think it's important to remember that there's levels to this, and the Bucs have high standards for themselves. that not just the division crown, but we're going for the everything crown. And it's the depth will be very important. The deepest teams make the deepest runs. That's just a fact. And you'll see it in almost every Super Bowl champion that someone's going to need to step up when someone goes down. It happened in our Super Bowl run that we had guys like Tyler Johnson, a wide receiver, make some great plays. And just a lot of defensive players, step in when other guys got hurt, when Vita Vea was out for most of the year. And it's just important to remember that the deepest teams will do what they need to do. They don't make excuses. I've been there. I've made excuses before about teams in the past, but this team they know that they've been there. They've been in the playoffs. They have the experience. They don't want to make excuses. They want to make opportunities. They want to prove that they belong. They have proved that they belong, but they want to prove that they should be discussed in like top 5 teams in the league. And I think it's very possible. Yeah, that with the performance tonight is always a good start, blowing out teams. And now it's just like taking it to Pittsburgh and taking it to teams that we know have really good coaches like the Bills. Those are the 2 next preseason games. Show what we got during those games. Stay healthy. But if things go wrong, be able to adjust and work your way through this. But what is your biggest takeaway through these games? That is my question. Are you happy with Shiloh Sanders' performance? Are you happy with Trask? Bucca, is that the most exciting rookie? Because Jacob Parish to me is, we needed some corner depth, and I'm pretty excited about the opportunity to finally have multiple good corners on the team. So let me know down below in the comments what you're most excited for, and remember to subscribe. We've got a lot to talk about, and we'll keep talking about it for the rest of the week as we get ready for the next preseason game. But you can't be too upset with a 29-7 victory to start the season off. So subscribe, guys. We're almost at 1,000. We'll be doing live streams and everything there. Thank you to everyone who's watching, and I will see y'all in the next one.